the DSTL1, which runs Android 1.5, the Cupcake-based OS, has the same standard email client that you've seen on prior devices. If you go into the main menu, though, you'll notice there is no Gmail client because that's a Google application. There's also no Google Maps, which is kind of unfortunate. I have a bunch of these applications that I've loaded myself, such as Twitter clients, the Slide Me catalog, Wi-Fi Buddy. I've found that about 75 to 80% of the applications I've tried work just fine with the lower res display. A couple of them that try to do things that are a little funky, though, just don't work out. Either don't run at all or are unusable because you can't get to certain UI features. But it looks like if the developers play ball, everything works out okay. I've got the Android Authority webpage pulled up on the DSTL1's browser. You can see there's no multi-touch support, partly because resistive displays like the one on this device don't support multi-touch at all. But you can see, in spite of the relatively low resolution of the display, the browser works quite well. Everything looks pretty good. Also supports landscape mode, of course. Press the 1x button to go back to the native resolution, which you can see is that's one of the issues with the lower res display. Things don't fit innately. You have to zoom a bit to be able to read them. But it's really not too bad. And of course it does a great job of rendering things. Pull up bookmarks here and we'll go to the Full Mobile Burn webpage. And we're over a Wi-Fi connection right now. You can see that things are rendering quite nicely. Everything looks pretty much like it should. No double tap for zooming though, which is always a nice feature to have. Just like with other Android devices, you get very nice notifications. This one says I've got 2 new messages. You can see I've got one from my wife and one from AT&T saying the last message we sent out was to an invalid number. I've got the camera application loaded on the DSTL1, and you see if I press down the shutter button halfway, it'll get a focus and then I can take the photo. Camera quality seems to be pretty good. Sometimes it's slow focusing, and the lower the light gets, the slower the focus gets, and even when it gets into a not too dim situation, it can be sometimes impossible to achieve focus. Pretty decent menu system, easy to change all the different various settings and to switch modes, say to switch modes into the video recorder or something like that. I've got the video recorder loaded now, and we're going to start a video clip just so you can see how it works. One of the few bugs I've found on the device has to do with video playback. So now we've stopped that recording. And we'll play it back. And you'll notice that the aspect ratio is totally off. If you go into landscape mode, it gets better, but it's still squashed. So you can see it's trying to stretch it into a widescreen format when it shouldn't be. So you can see it's that extra width there from the wider screen format. I've got the wired headset plugged into the DSTL1 so I can bring up the FM radio. You can see it works. You can save channels. There's the Seek Scan. You can program multiple channels yourself. You can play through the headphones or through the speakers. Just turn the speakers off. Plays in the background when you're doing other things, and of course you can exit out. For those of you not familiar with it, I'm running the NitroDesk Touchdown Exchange client for dealing with email on the Exchange server. does a really good job with email, calendars, just about everything. A lot of good functionality in this application. Just going to go through the main menu and point out the things that are installed by default, the entire top row there. I've added the Cleanoid for killing applications and freeing up memory. File Manager is included, as is the FM radio that I already showed you. Gallery, of course. Greedy Snake is a game that comes by default pre-installed. Standard music, messaging, profiles, the Slide Me software catalog. Since there's no Android market, that's been a godsend for finding nice applications. Settings, of course, I added this Social Droid and the Twitly clients. Spare parts comes pre-installed, allows you to customize some settings. Touchdown I've already mentioned. Video recording and video playback. Voice dialing. And then of course I added Wi-Fi Buddy just so I could test out some of the different Wi-Fi settings available. This device does have a bit of a problem with maintaining Wi-Fi connections once it's gone into standby. It doesn't always seem to find our local Wi-Fi network, so I've used that a bit to tweak it. So there you have it. That's our look at the General Mobile DSTL1, a very nice Android-powered device with a 5 megapixel autofocus camera and a resistive touchscreen with a wide QVGA resolution. It's only tri-band edge, so it's not going to be great for 3G data or anything like that. You're only going to get edge speeds. But still, it's pretty nice considering it's a fairly small manufacturer. So again, that's the General Mobile DSTL1. I'm Michael Orrell for MobileBurn.com.